guys, it's Megan. Today I want to talk about how to balance working from home and taking care of a baby. Because a lot of us work from home moms end up working from home while we're postpartum, while we have a newborn. And it can be difficult to navigate how to balance caring for the baby, meeting the baby's needs, while still being productive at work and getting stuff done. I think a lot of people think that working from home when you are postpartum, when you have a new baby, is like a dream come true. And it kind of is, right? It's what we want. It's what we chose to do. We don't want to send our kids to daycare, right? We want to be with our kids at home, and we don't want to go into the office. So in some ways, it definitely is a dream come true because this is what we chose and this is what we want. But it comes with its own set of challenges. And if you've never done it before, it's definitely a difficult thing to navigate. And so I'm here to share with you some of the ways that I manage working and raising a baby together without feeling overwhelmed and exhausted and burnt out. Now, full disclaimer, this is not a perfect system. You will still have days where you are exhausted and burnt out. This is not foolproof. But here are the ways that I try to manage working from home with a newborn. So first of all, babies do not understand your office hours. Babies do not understand that you're working. Babies only understand that they're hungry and they want to hold you. Babies have needs and we are the one who needs to meet those needs, and there's no way around that. So we need to figure out ways to meet babies' needs while still managing our work schedule. You can't really force baby into a schedule, and depending on how old your baby is, some of this stuff is going to be different. If you have a very newborn baby and you're trying to go right back to work after having a baby, this is going to be very different than if you have a 6-month-old or a 10-month-old baby that you're trying to manage while you're working. But to jump straight into it, one of the biggest, hardest things about this process is your schedule doesn't exist anymore. Your schedule is at the whims of this new human that you're in charge of now, which means that you need a schedule that can adapt to the baby's schedule. I don't want to just say work while the baby naps because that's what everybody says. And I know that new moms don't want to hear that because you've heard work while the baby naps, sleep while the baby naps, do the dishes while the baby naps, fold the laundry while the baby naps, and it's not helpful. You can't do everything while the baby naps. So you have to figure out how to do some stuff while the baby's not napping. But that is definitely, if you are able to organize your schedule in a way that your deep work times, your very focused work times are while the baby is napping, that would be helpful. That being said, we need to talk about ways to continue working when the baby's not asleep. For infants, for newborns, my best advice to you is to get a baby carrier that's really comfortable for you, that's really comfortable for baby, and wear the baby while you work. This is going to ensure that the baby is the happiest and the most satisfied for the longest period of time, that when they do go fall asleep, that they will stay asleep for the longest until it's time to feed again. And this is going to keep them happy and satisfied while you are able to move around, get up and down from your desk, do the work that you need to do, be hands-free, not feel like have your arms full while you're trying to type on the computer. This is my number one piece of advice for an infant. Now, what do we do when they're a little bit older? They're starting to move around. They don't want to stay in the wrap the whole time. I do still recommend using a baby carrier when they're willing. When the baby is 6 months, 10 months old, and they're wanting to move around more, they do still have those periods of times where they do just want to be held and want to be snuggled. And so instead of sitting on the couch with your hands full, snuggling the baby, put the baby in the carrier, continue to hold them while you work, and then when they're ready, they can get down. But for this age, once they're starting to move around a little bit, playing with toys, things like that, being interested in other things, I would definitely recommend having a designated space near your office space that you set up for baby. If they're very mobile already, then put up either, it can be a pack and play, or put up a baby gate, whatever it may be, to keep them contained so that you don't have to worry about them crawling around and getting into things that they shouldn't be getting into while you're trying to focus on work. Fill that area with toys that are appropriate for them to look at and play with in a safe space. You know where they are and they're right near you, and you can try your best to focus on work while they're playing. Now, while all of that is great, we still know that we're going to get interrupted. We're not going to be able to focus for a long time on our work because we have a tiny, beautiful human that we're taking care of. So if possible, you need to try and arrange your schedule, break down your work, into smaller tasks that can be completed in 15 to 20 minutes. That way, you have these blocks of time, and in between those 20-minute blocks of time, you're checking in on the baby, you're feeding the baby, you're putting the baby down for a nap, you're changing the baby's diaper. You have these blocks of time that break up your day. If at all possible, break your work down into sections. At the beginning of the day, say, what kind of work do I have to do today? And try and break it down to what can I do in smaller blocks of time. Don't look at the whole picture of all the work you have to do for the whole day and just try and plow through it. Try and break it down into little bite-sized pieces that you can accomplish. Another huge thing that we struggle with as moms is guilt. We feel guilty that we're not putting 100% into work and we're not putting 100% into our baby. It feels bad to split our attention. We don't like it. We don't like feeling like we're only giving half of ourselves to our baby. I think that the important thing here when you're struggling with guilt is to make sure that you're setting realistic boundaries with work. So whether you are your own boss and you are setting your own schedule, or whether you work for a company, you have to be very clear on boundaries. These are the hours that you are able to work, and you're not going to be taking on extra work outside of that time. You need to prioritize you and your baby being connected and resting and caring for that baby. So set a schedule that is doable and realistic for you, the amount of time per day that you are able to dedicate without feeling burnt out, without feeling guilty for neglecting your baby. I know this isn't possible for everybody. I know some people have strict bosses who want them to get back to work chop. And I know that not everybody has these options, but if you can, it's important to set these boundaries. Let people know that you are at home and you do have your baby and you can only do so much every day. The last thing I want to address about working from home with a baby is feeling isolated, feeling alone, feeling like the whole world revolves around this one room in your house where the baby sleeps, and you feel like you and the baby are the only people in the world, and you haven't spoken to another human in weeks, and your husband's at work and he's barely even there, and you stop feeling like a person. And this is so hard, and especially when you're trying to also get back to work at the same time. So you have to find support. You have to find people to talk to. You have to find somebody to come over, to be with you, to speak to you. I know not everybody has a built-in support system. Some of us have moms and sisters and grandparents and people who are happy to come and help us and be a part of our baby's lives and make us food and make us feel good when we have a baby, but not everybody has that. So if you don't have a natural support system, I would encourage you to reach out to local communities of moms, because I'm sure that you will find people in your local community who are moms who want to help you and want to support you and want to be friends. Find those people. I know it's hard, but find those people, invite them over, talk about it, and talk through how hard it is to work and have a baby. And just have somebody who can sit there and be with you and understand, because we all understand what it's like. And bonus points if you do have a sister who's willing to come over to your house and hang out with your adorable baby for a couple hours every day while you get work done. The point is, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask people that you know, or to reach out to people that you don't know and try and make a community, because it does take a village. You're not meant to do this alone, and you're certainly not meant to be alone in your house, isolated with your baby 24/7. Find people to connect with and to share this life adventure with, and I promise it will feel a million times lighter. So with all that being said, if anybody has any other tips and advice on how you balance working from home and taking care of your baby, please leave your advice in the comments for any other moms who are struggling. And if you want to see more videos from me, I talk about home business, homeschooling, working from home, everything to do with the home, then please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.